Good morning, it's Ethan of GNL with another raid video. Today we're going to talk about one of the most controversial, one of the most anticipated, and possibly one of the most greatest, biggest disappointments to come in raid, which is the dupe system. They've been saying it for over a year. It's always been their top priority, but yet it still hasn't happened. Now, I know it's a very controversial topic for the community because a lot of people want it. A lot of people really don't want it, and I think it needs broken down. Right? You can't talk about it generally. You have to break it down. So first of all, why and who does it affect? I think most people that want this are whales or extreme krakens and leviathans and other sea monsters. The premise is that they're missing a few key champions. They're suffering from extreme diminishing returns. Like the odds of you getting a specific non-void champion, for example, is like 1 in almost 100 now because the champion pool has expanded. Even during a 10x, you need to pull 200 ancients on average to get a legendary. And even then, the chance of getting the one you want is still something like, 10%. So you need to pull, what, 2,000 ancients, right? That's crazy. That's a crazy number, right? 2,000 ancients or something like a couple of hundred sacreds, right? Um, the lack of new equivalent champions, especially from fusions, um, the lack of vault space to store 100 or 200 dupe legendaries is getting to be a problem that Plarium knows about. And whilst it is slowly expanding the vault space, it doesn't solve the fundamental problem. Now, the danger from the rest of the community is that top whales that get all the champions have nothing more to do and immediately quit. Well, that's not really a problem. I mean, do you really care if one or two endgame players quit? Is that really an issue? I mean, they're quitting anyway. They've already quit, actually. It's too late. So it's already happening. I don't think that's what you're going to be worried about. I think people use that as an excuse that they're worried they'll get further ahead, not quitting, right? It's not the death of the game they're worried about. It's their own lack of competitiveness versus whales that will pull ahead using their dupes as an unfair, but it's not really unfair, but as some kind of unfair advantage. But you shouldn't be worried about that. You're not competing against endgame whales, right? Are you really competing against, for example, Grizzles of GNL or Mac Chan of Mad? Are you really? No, right? You're competing against players on equal basis to you in the arena, in the Doomtown, right? Actually, apart from the arena reset, those 5 minutes, nothing in this game is actually very competitive. I mean, tournaments, you might get an epic book or not get an epic book. Something like that, right? It's not really, very competitive. The second is that the whole game economy, people will stop spending because they'll use all their dupes as a supplement to actual shard spending. I don't think that's true. I know whales that just keep pulling shards when they have all the champions. It's just a fun for them. Like it's like watching a repeat of a TV show, even if you've seen it. Um, or it's new players coming in that don't have many of the champions. A lot of new whales. If you look at the top spots for shard pools, on 2x weekends, a lot of the names I don't recognize anymore. They're all new players. The economy of Raid is driven by new players, not old players. So I don't think Raid will die because they roll out any kind of dupe system. I don't think you can stop endgame players quitting, even if there was a dupe system that was really good. I think they'll quit sooner or later, next week or next year, right? It's a matter of time, right? But Raid will flourish because new players will come in, right? So I don't think there are any real danger points. It's all about implementation and how fun it is. So I've come up with 6 ideas and I want to go through them one by one. So the first idea for me is a simple one, which is to add skins, right? Why don't we turn dupe legendaries into opportunities to reskin an existing one, right? I think that would be really, really exciting because that allows you to For example, turn Siffy into red or something like that. We're going to go through some champions later on what the color schemes might be. The second idea is to combine 4 legendaries of some affinity into a shard that summons a legendary of the same affinity. But there is a catch to this. Only a 25% chance to summon a non-dupe. So for example, you can combine, I don't know, like 4 War Mothers, which is magic, I think, into this super shard, a blood shard, or whatever shard you want to call it. And the blood shard has a 25% chance to summon a non-dupe legendary, and the 75% chance to disappoint you with either a 4-star or 5-star chicken, right? It really doesn't matter. If you're already sacrificing 4 dupe legendaries, I don't think you care about whether it's a 4-star chicken or a 5-star chicken. It really doesn't matter. I think 25% chance is important because you want to tax the whales. If you don't tax them, what will happen? They have 200 dupe legendaries. They'll finish maxing out their account within 15 minutes, basically. So you can either add a 25% tax or you can add a timer limit. Like you can only do this every 3 weeks, for example. I think that is definitely a doable mechanism, right? The second one is perhaps that you can add or merge a legendary into another legendary to reveal a secret boost. Now, this is not the same as 7-star Ascension. 7-star Ascension, I think, logically would be like 5 to 6. So you upgrade all the kind of stats. I think that's too much. I think unlocking a secret ability that doesn't change the competitiveness of the game for early or mid game or even late game, but changes like top end competitive gameplay, like Plat Arena, for example. Like, for example, Magic champions have a 25% chance of not weak hitting, for example. That really benefits a lot of the Magic nukers. Spirit champions have greater HP regeneration and base HP. That's really nice, I think. And Force champions have extra resistance or something like this, right? I think that's really, really nice. You can definitely do that. I think, or you can actually do it by faction. I think by faction is also super cool. Like Bannerlords, which Baron belongs to, for example. Baron can get, I don't know what's so cool about Bannerlords, right? Their armor is extra shiny, right? And reflects damage or something like that. I don't know. Something like that. So I think having some kind of genre specific, faction specific, or I think all the factions have like their own like unions, right? Nasanian union or whatever it's called. I think union specific advantages is kind of nice. Adds some kind of flavor. Like lizardmen can breathe fire, or dragon balls would like that, or I don't know, right? So I think these are kind of like useful ideas, and I'll be really interested in seeing what other people's feedback is based on these ideas in the comments section. So moving on to the fourth idea is this idea of a mercy system. The mercy system is whereby you can sacrifice a number of dupe champions to create your own 10x, right? So just like in gambling and casinos, you can create your own betting odds. You don't have to go with a house. Here, what you're saying is, I want a 10x for, I don't know, like Tronda, Duchess, and I don't know, whatever, right? And there are costs with this, right? You can add costs to these things. Like, for example, the more 10x you want, every 10x costs you 4 dupe legendaries. Each 10x lasts for 3 days. and they always start whenever you do activate this, right? So you want to activate it during a 2x. Like you want to match your own 10x with a 2x ancient or 2x sacred or 2x void. I think that's really, really cool, right? And then you can also, so I think that way of customizing your own RNG allows you to still pull a lot of shards. So Raid still sells lots of shards, but biases the calendar in favor of you, right? Because otherwise you have to wait for their own kind of 10x. So I think that kind of makes sense. I hope people like that. And I haven't heard that anyone talk about, creating your own 10x, creating your own odds, right? And then Plarium can tax that really heavily by saying, oh, you got to sacrifice 8 legendaries to create this 10x. And the 10x, for example, only lasts like 1 or 2 days, for example. And you better hope there are good shard offers during those 1 or 2 days, or you saved a lot. So you got to do your own planning, take your own responsibility, take your own risks on when to activate this, right? I think it's nice. It puts the player in control, but still leaves it to a huge degree of RNG. Because if you think about it, the chance of you getting a legendary in 2x is still 1 in 100 from Ancients, right? And still 1 in 200 for outside 2x. And then the 10x, only adds 9 extra copies of that champion into the artificial pool. And your chance of getting it is still just elevated from like 1% to 10%, right? But you still have to pull, so you still have to pull, 1,200, 2,000 shards to have a decent chance. So Plarium is still making a huge, profit from this process. It's just gone from impossible to low chances, right? That's all. Okay, so the final kind of idea is that what we can do is we can transform dupes into actual shards. So you get some of your shard costs back, right? Or like the first thing I said, transform it into a skin that you can buy from the shop. Imagine Siphi in red or Rotos in red, right? It will look absolutely amazing. Like, I don't want my shards back. I want the skin, right? Skins would be amazing. Like, for example, Yakar in pink, right? Because pink is the best camouflage color when you're in the middle of a snowstorm, right? Nobody would expect that. They would think it's an anomaly, right? So, yeah, I would get Yakar in pink, Siphi in red, Rotos in purple, something like that. I would easily sacrifice, a dupe Tila for that, right? It's not a big deal. So I think those are the idea. Another one is that you can sacrifice a dupe to be another dupe for another champion. For example, you got dupe War Mothers, right? But you don't want dupe War Mothers. You want a dupe Rotos. Why not sacrifice 4 dupe War Mothers for dupe Rotos, right? That's a good deal from a Plarium point of view. So to summarize all of that, I think the current Mercy system, the current shard system, is extremely diminishing returns. As in, you have to pull a ludicrous number of shards. And when I say ludicrous, I'm talking about thousands. I'm not talking about hundreds. Hundreds is not ludicrous for a whale, right? A whale on a weekend easily goes through 200 voids, 700 or 800 ancients, if not nearly 1,000 ancient. But if you ask the whale to pull 4,000 or 5,000 ancients, that's hard. Even for top whales, I think that's a big ask. But that's what you need if you're targeting a particular champion during 10x, right? Because most 10x's are poisoned. So like this weekend is Valkyrie with Alton and Minea. So the chance of getting Valkyrie is not that high, when you poisoned it with Minea and Alton. And actually, the chance of you getting it, I think is something like, I don't know, it's basically you've added roughly 30 extra dupe champions into the pool, and you're saying 10 out of them. So it's not really that much better than 2x. A bit better, but not that much better, right? Because in 2x you get some other good champions as well. The chance of that is twice. So actually creating your own custom 10x when you want it, how you want it, at a good cost, it's not a bad dupe system, right? If you're using dupes to pay for it. So I'm in favor of all these ideas. The idea of skins, the idea of faction specific or affinity specific boosts, or the idea of doing this kind of your own kind of 10x. But I also think there's another opportunity here, but I don't think Plarium will go for it at all, which is clan-based trading. Imagine you created a market whereby you're able to trade champions, but only within a clan, and only if you've been with a clan for a very long time. This creates greater loyalty within clans. It creates greater economy within the clan. So rather than the clan just being a social space or a space that enables you just to hit the clan boss, it allows, and to do CVC, it allows you to trade with other members of the clan. You can definitely lock this down to make it not abusable, right? You can say there's a 30-day cooldown, and you must have scored X number of points with the clan, for example. So it rewards people that have been with the clan for a long time. It actually allows people to create camaraderie, to share things, to share champions. For example, I have lots of dupe Ghostborns, and some people have lots of dupe Trunders, but don't have Ghostborn. We could easily trade, right? Totally fair. And of course, other games had this, like World of Warcraft had clan banks that you could trade artifacts and very rare materials for crafting, right? As well as currency. So having a clan bank, I think, is really, really nice. And you could have different tiers to unlock the bank. So you could have, like, you know, your standard wood, dirt, bronze, silver, gold, platinum tiers, right? Depending on your contribution to the clan. And that stops people jumping around clans all the time. And having a cooldown and having minimum contribution allows you to you know, control this clan jumping process during CVC, which I think is, I mean, I'm not a big fan of it. I think moving one or two people around occasionally due to work-life balance, I think is healthy. But moving like 30, 40 people around to manipulate the CVC process, nah, I mean, it's just unnecessary. I think it's just bad game design by Plarium, to be honest. And I think having a clan loyalty system is really good for that. That's it. I would love to see what you guys think of this. I don't really believe that just creating some dupe system will make the game die. Like, why would it do that? And the argument people say is, oh, other games have died. Well, other games have died because they're shit. They're fucking shit, right? That's what they've died. It's not because they had a dupe system. It's because all the other features are shit and the genre is rubbish, right? And for many other reasons, right? Raid is not dying because it will create a dupe system. Dupe systems will make some players come back, make some people quit, but the vast majority of players are new players that are spending huge amounts of money just to catch up to the 200 champions, right? That will take a year or two, even if they spent every penny they have, right? So Raid will not die, Raid will flourish, even without a dupe system. But for some of the old players, it's just getting a little bit tedious, right? I mean, part of my fun is just going on Discord, shit posting, making these kind of videos, because there's nothing to do in the game, and I don't want to start a new game, right? So I think it's just something to do, to be honest, something to look forward to, you know, outside work and life. I don't think killing the game, no, it's just way too melodramatic and way too insecure, you know, as an emotion. Saying anything, killing the game is just like, doomsday kind of thinking, right? Anyway, over and out. Want to see your opinions.